thanks to the support as a channel member, Rob Harley. Oh, boys and girls, the cup run continues. Reading, who are struggling in the Championship, we can beat them. Hello and welcome to part 108 of Wembley to Wembley. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the Reading Cup tie, but first, we've got the draw for the fifth round of the FA Cup. We'll get to that in just a second. We're in good form going into it as well. 3 wins our last 3 games in the league, which leave us in 10th place, just 6 points behind my beloved Peterborough, but 2 games in hand on them and a better goal difference. We're actually potentially in a race for the playoffs here, boys and girls. We've also done a little bit in the way of transfers. We've signed a backup goalkeeper, Tyrone Dawson, mainly because we were probably going to let Perini go. He's on the transfer list at his own request. So we brought in a new backup goalkeeper who was cheaper than him, only to then have Randall break his hand, which is problematic for a goalkeeper. So Perini, who's now a late developer, so he might go on to get better and better. Who knows? I don't really know what a late developer means for a 2.5-star League One goalkeeper. But Perini's going to be back in the team for a bit. Dawson is in though. Berry has gone out on loan to Gillingham, which I think you'd already seen, and we're potentially bringing in a new boy in the shape of Joe Westlake to play in midfield as well, a 31-year-old who's been at Peterborough for a long time, but for whatever reason was released by them this season, having not played a game. We'll take him. He'll fit straight into our team. We'll have one of those, thank you very much. But first, what we'll have is an FA Cup draw. You know the rules, boys and girls. We want a big away game. Obviously, getting past Reading is not going to be a foregone conclusion, but if we can make it past Reading, we want the big money prize. We want the away game against an Arsenal or a Manchester City or a Liverpool or a Newcastle. Tottenham would do. I mean, big clubs or Tottenham, that would be fine. We don't want Leicester again. Newcastle now gone. Right, away against Arsenal. This would be perfect. No. We're at home again. Well, in this case, we want Bristol Rovers. We want a winnable game. So if we get past Reading, our prize will be Portsmouth of League One. Oh, my word. What round do you go to Wembley in the FA Cup? The semi-final? If we can make it past Reading, my goodness me, this is like England in a major tournament. The draw is opening up for us. Now we've got to make sure we beat Reading. And this is the team for that game against Reading. Joe Westlake has signed, so he's going to be sat on the bench, not close to match fit, of course, not played a game all season, having been, I guess, released by Peterborough at the end of last season and not finding a club. But he played 42 games for them last season, so it does seem like an odd one that he was released, and theoretically he comes in as our best central midfielder. So once we can get him fit, he will be an asset for us. But we want him to be an asset against Portsmouth in the 5th round. This is the team for Reading. It's Perini in goal, which is his first start in a long time. So that's going to be an interesting one. Hopefully he's still as good as we remember him, yeah? Bernard, Lloyd, Bedard and D'Souza at the back four. Edwards has picked up a knock, so D'Souza is going to get into the team, having been knocking on the door recently. Cole and Nkatha in midfield, and then Fenty, who's just recovering from an injury of his own, is going to come in on the left-hand side, although he's not fully fit. Shehu and Bunce making up the rest of the attacking midfield 3 behind McHugh. It's about as strong a team as we're capable of putting out, obviously goalkeeper aside, but hopefully Perini can come in and do some heroics and not be in a mood that I've basically told him he's surplus to requirements, because that would be a shame. Less than 4,000 people have turned up for a massive FA Cup game, arguably the biggest game in our history. And that there's 2,000 people fewer than turned up for Wimbledon in the league. I don't really understand what motivates our fans to turn up for football matches, but this is a massive. Oh my word! Perini's now pulled his wrist ligaments. Tyrone Dawson is very much a third choice goalkeeper. He is not somebody I want to be on the football pitch at any point during his time at the club. We'll keep an eye on Perini. He looks like he's still fully fit at the moment, but obviously pulled wrist ligaments for a goalkeeper. Not ideal. We've got one goalkeeper with a broken hand, one with a floppy wrist now. I am a little bit concerned that our goalkeepers are dropping like flies. With a couple of days left in the transfer window, we might have to dip back in again and try and bring in another goalkeeper. But first half, uneventful, not a single highlight. Reading are struggling. Reading have struggled in the league. This game is there for the taking if we can create a chance. We just need to get McHugh in front of goal to apply a finish. Perini, strained wrist ligaments and all, is still able to collect across. Good to see he's kept his mohawk nice and sharp during his time warming up the bench as well. I mean, he's held onto the ball a long time there. For someone whose arm hurts, you'd think he'd be eager to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. But the ball from the goal kick has come straight back at us, and Reading now with an opportunity, and they do seem to be carving one out. And they have scored, and that does leave us with it all to do. The linesman's wafting his flag around over here. I don't think the goal was about to be disallowed. I don't really know why he's wafting his flag about, but this is it is a little bit frustrating how easily they've made their way around our defenders there. I mean, I guess that's the difference between Championship and League One. We're going attacking. We're going to demand more. There's an opportunity in front of us here that it feels like it would be a shame to pass up. So if we can find a way, I mean, it's been an even match. It's not as if they're completely outclassing us. It's a very even match that I would very much like to get back into. And Fenty is going to take a free kick. And I mean, that's a good free kick. It's been tipped over the crossbar by the Reading goalkeeper. We've got a corner, and it's going to be Bunce to come across and take it. An equaliser here would go down very nicely. Cross comes in. D'Souza can't get proper contact with it. And the highlight just kind of fritters away. Shehu's going to come off. We're going to bring on Justinison, and we're going to go two up top. Get the big boy on. Just go two advanced forwards, because why not? And we're also going to bring Westlake on in midfield. I know he's not fit, but get him on. Get his quality on there. And I think we should probably take off Fenty as well, who is struggling, of course, for fitness, having been out for quite a long time with a dodgy wrist of his own. So 3 changes. We're going to offer encouragement. We already demanded more and it didn't do anything. So let's try and be nice. There's nothing like randomly changing how I'm talking to the players in the hope that something sticks. Low plays it in, looking for Justinison, but he's sold him short there, and we end up giving the ball back to Reading, and they've got in again and they've scored again. And I think that's probably the end of our cup run for this season. And it's a shame for us to go out of a whimper after doing as well as we have, but ultimately Reading are a team from the division above. We were never supposed to beat them. It's one of those, I always talk about the matches you don't want to get in the FA Cup when you're a little club looking for money. And the one you really don't want to get is the home game against a team who are just a little bit better than you, who aren't, because you're not going to sell tickets because you're at home and your ground's too small, but they're probably still going to beat you because they're a little bit better. And it's like the worst of all scenarios. It was probably the worst name we could have got come out the hat was a team like Reading. And we're taking our medicine accordingly. Unless McHugh plays it over the top for Bunce to chase. He's played it a little bit long, and the Reading defenders have dealt with it pretty comfortably in the end. And, Lowe's got the ball back. Justinison's in, and it's straight at the Reading keeper. I think that was probably the chance that could have got us back into the game. And Justinison has absolutely fluffed his lines there. Have we got anything else on the bench that could maybe turn things around? We've got Breeze who could come on. Oh dear, D'Souza, having knocked on the door for ages, is now having a terrible match. So we'll bring LOLLUJO on. Bernard can go over to that side. And I guess we do bring Breeze on and just go with Westlake on his own in midfield. What's the harm? Go very attacking. Magic of the cup. Let's see if we can get 2 goals back with a monstrous system. Justinison forcing the save out of the keeper. And we've had a couple of good opportunities from free kicks. Obviously, Justinison had that big chance that he missed as well. Looking at the XG, though, it looks like the difference between the two teams has been the goalkeeper. Perini, not played for a long time, not really good enough for League One, never mind Championship opposition. Plus, he's been playing the whole match with a sprained wrist. And as a result, they've got 2 goals off the back of not very much XG, less XG than us. We're being FM'd out of our cup run, which does sting a little bit, but does also send me the message that potentially we do need to go goalkeeper shopping, because I don't know that Perini is necessarily the guy that we want in goal for the remainder of our playoff push. Bunce trying to get us a goal back. I mean, we've got time. We could still score twice. Bernard pushing forward on the right-hand side now. We're throwing men forward. Bernard, just give the ball to an attacker. There you go. He's giving it to Westlake. Westlake plays it over to Lowe, who looked on offside. Has that been given? I think it has. No, it is being called back. He looked offside, and he was offside. And, I mean, we've had some opportunities. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been our day. And that's the end of the cup run for another year. At least we got far enough to get some decent prize money, even though we didn't get the big ticket sales draw. We made a decent amount of money. We're not going to be overdrawn at the end of the season, hopefully. But we are out of the cup for this season. And I guess we now... You know what? I'm not going to show you Walsall. I'm going to go... For the next game, I'm going to go somewhere around here. Because then in the next episode, we can go right to the end of the season. In the interest of getting these seasons done a little bit quicker, you don't need to see me play Walsall. I'll be back sometime in February for a league game. And it's just as well I didn't show the Walsall game because we lost it. We then beat Portsmouth and Oxford and then had 2 score draws against Southend and Charlton. Charlton, another local-ish rival, I guess now. New record attendance set again. Over 6,000 people in the ground for the game against Charlton. Although, to be fair, over 4,000 of them were away fans. I now need to go back to this Wimbledon game from earlier in the season. Yeah, okay. We're out. The big attendances are when the away team bring a load of fans, which does beg the question, where's Sheffield United? Sheffield United only bringing 1,000 fans is bonkers. But it's quite nice making all this money from gate receipts. Our gate receipt income this season, despite not having a massive cup run, we've already made almost as much from gate receipts this season as we did last season when we had the cup run and the big game against Leicester. So that's jolly nice, I guess. We've also done a little bit in the transfer market as well as the window closed. You know about Joe Westlake arriving. We've also signed Jamie Shearer on loan from Birmingham until the end of the season. He's a winger who can play on either side. We've been playing him on the right, and as you can see, he's quite good. So glad to have him on board. Less happy, but it had to happen, I guess. Faisal Shaibu, who's been one of my favourite players for a long time. We've probably moved beyond his level of effectiveness. He'd only started 4 games for us this season, and we signed Westlake, who pushed him even further down the pecking order. So when we got a £17,000 offer for him, we couldn't really say no. So he's gone back to play down in the National League, and we're doing all right. If we look at the league table, can we look at the league table? There we go. League table wise, we are 6 points behind 6th place Wrexham. We have a game in hand on them and a better goal difference than just about every team around us as well. So a little bit of luck and a decent run of form, and we could yet find ourselves in the playoffs at the end of the season. So let's win this next game and move a little bit closer towards a playoff push. So it's Perini in goal. Randall now fit enough to be on the bench again, but not quite ready to start. So Perini continues in goal. It's a back four of Lloyd, Salucci, Bedard and Edwards, Cole and Westlake in midfield. Westlake, yeah, he can play that playmaker role. Jolly good. He's having to because Nkatha has picked up an injury and he's going to be out for the next 3 weeks or so. So Westlake and Cole together in midfield. And then Fenty, Shehu and Shearer behind McHugh up front. Westlake still not fully fit. He's not really played. We've had Nkatha and Cole as our midfield partnership, with Westlake waiting for an opportunity to get into the team. Today is his opportunity. So fingers crossed he can step in and look as good as I hoped he was going to be when we brought him in. But we very much like the win today. I think this is our game in hand. So if we can get to within 3 points of the playoffs, it does make the run in that bit more interesting. Lose today, and we're probably just going to finish mid-table, which ultimately is fine. Financially, we're doing okay after another decent cup run. We can have another good summer of bringing in quality young players. And I have no doubts that even if we end up finishing a boring mid-table team this year, we'll be in a promotion race next year. And that's the important thing, isn't it? We want that promotion race. But if we can do it this year, I'm not going to complain. Shearer doing good work, winning the ball back, finds Shehu and now McHugh to Edwards, who's pushed forward from right back. Fenty trying to get in at the far post, couldn't get past the last defender, but does come away with the ball, and Westlake floats it back over looking for Shearer, and his header goes just wide at the far post. Remains 0-0, but we've had a bright start to the game. and fingers crossed we can go on and win the football match. Stoke have just gone ahead in their game, which puts them ahead of us in the league, hopefully only temporarily, because McHugh is in, who of course is on loan from Stoke. So it is an interesting one. He is recallable. It does show another one of those weird quirks of Football Manager, because in real life, we're above Stoke in the league. We've got one of their players on loan and he's the top scorer in the league. Obviously, they recall him in January. Just Football Manager things, though. They didn't. And because of that, he's still here and hopefully scores the goals to put us back up above him again. I think he's offside there. And yeah, that one has been ruled out. But he's well into the goals. And it baffles me that Stoke wouldn't think to bring him back. And also, he hasn't had a contract extension yet either. So not only might they be letting us have him on loan for the entire season, potentially at the expense of them getting into the playoffs. So if we get into the playoffs ahead of Stoke, it's double mad with bells on. But we might be able to do all that and then just sign him permanently from him at the end of the year as well, which would be even madder. But I'm not complaining. I'd be quite happy if that happens. Right, McHugh goes past his man. Beautiful work from McHugh and fires the ball straight at the goalkeeper, then plays it across to Shearer, and Shearer scores again. It just seems to go with the name. If you're called Shearer, you're going to score goals, even if you're not a striker. This boy has come in and scored goals right from the off. And what an important acquisition to the team he might end up being. It's lovely work from McHugh all around, and then Shearer there with the finish. 1-0 to Wembley, and that puts us back up above Stoke and Colchester, I think. Yeah, up into 7th place, just 3 points behind Wrexham with 10 games to go and a much better goal difference. We're also only 3 points behind Peterborough, but Peterborough have, in fact, no, they've played one more game, so we've got a game in hand on them. We're well in the mix, boys and girls. This is going to be an interesting run-in. I still think, what are we, 15 years into the save now? We've still never done a back-to-back promotion, I don't think. The historians will tell me I'm wrong. It's been over 100 episodes, though. This has been going on for months. I don't think we have. We could do it now, though, because it is a team that is looking good and playing well and getting better all the time. And Shea, who shoots from range, talking of getting better all the time, he's a guy who I didn't expect to be using very much at all when we brought him in the summer. The tactical change has given him his opportunity, and goodness me, is he taking that opportunity and getting better week on week. I think we've got a potential future star on our hands with Shehu, and if he'd have scored that there, I'd have gone bananas. But it remains 1-0, and it is Newport on the attack as we approach the hour mark in this game. They're shooting from range, and Perini's got that well covered. Perini, being back in the team, hasn't really looked out of place. I mean, I know we've had some strange. The 4-4 draw that we've just had is probably the strangest. That's quite strange as well. That pathetic attempt at a throw-in. So it's not as if he's covering himself in glory as a goalkeeper, but then to be fair, nobody has this season. I've been complaining about the keepers quite a lot as the season has gone on, and Perini, like I say, doesn't look out of place. Shearer plays it into Edwards, pushing forward on the right-hand side, finds McHugh. He's hit the crossbar. What has McHugh got to do to score a goal today? He's had one disallowed. He's created another one. He's now hit the crossbar. His goals have definitely slowed down in this second half of the season, but it feels like he's coming back into form. He's looking dangerous again. We just need him to get a little bit of luck, have something go his way, get one into the back of the net, and I think he goes on a run of rattling in the goals again. He is still just the top scorer in the league at the moment, but I think he's only got one goal since Christmas. So it would be quite nice if he started scoring again a little bit more consistently. Westlake is tiring, as you would imagine, from a guy who's not really played. I mean, this is his first start in over a year. In fact, we've got a lot of very tired legs on that pitch. Right, starting at the back, bringing on players to cover the tiredest ones. So Salucci can go there, Hill can go there. There you go, we can do that. That sort of works. Cole, see, we don't have a midfielder to come on for Cole or Westlake. We'll take off Shehu. Bunce can come on for him. And that's going to have to do for now, because we don't have any midfielders on the bench, which seems like a little bit of an oversight. Where's Shaibu when we need him? Hill could go into midfield, but then we don't have any more defenders to bring on. Have I inadvertently unbalanced the squad a little bit, which would be not ideal if that's the case? And I would very much like a second goal sometime soon. Cole doing good work winning the ball back in midfield, and it's now with De Souza, who's got Hill to the right of him, plays it to Hill, and now Shearer looking to get another attack going on this right-hand side, plays it into Westlake, and now Bunce, who's getting an opportunity to play as an attacking midfielder. He has been training there all year, so it's not an out-of-the-blue thing playing Bunce in that role. We have had him earmarked for that, and certainly with Shearer coming in and taking his spot on the right-hand side, it might be somewhere where he's going to put a little bit of pressure on Shehu for a starting spot. Bunce with the in-swinger, can't beat the first man. Solucci should give it back to Bunce here. He does eventually, and it's now with Bedard and now Solucci. Can we give it to an attacker? Westlake floats it over for Cole, who plays it back to Hill. Get it to a striker in the penalty area. Won't somebody give it to an attacker? Goodness me, that was both defensive midfield and all 4 defenders had the ball as part of that move. Just give it to someone who can do a goal. Westlake plays it forward to Bunce. He can do a goal. Tries to find Fenty but can't. Bunce again. This time does find Fenty. Fenty trying to get himself into a crossing position and just gives the ball away. That's why you don't give it to the attackers. Apparently they're not as good at keeping possession as the more defence-minded players. Westlake, bearing in mind he's shattered, does well to make it back there, but of course Football Manager tackles don't count. So we give the ball back again immediately, and it is a breakaway goal from Newport. I wish... One thing I'd like to see before FM25, and certainly something I'd like to see in FM25, is tackles actually win the ball back for your team, because it's so pointless tackling in this game. Because you make the tackle and then the other team just comes away with the ball anyway. It seems like every time that's how it happens. Right, what have we got? A load of attackers. Fenty can come off for low, and we'll bring on Justinison, and we're going to go 2 up top because we really want to win. So he's going to go up alongside McHugh. Bunce goes back out to the right-hand side. I think we probably go attacking here. We've drawn our last 2 games, but we really don't want to be dropping points now. With 10 minutes to go, we've stuck an extra striker on. Let's see if we can grab a winner, please and thank you. The only problem is our midfield, utterly shattered. The 2 old men in midfield could do with a little bit of a breather, but they're not going to get one. And it's back with Perini and now Bedard. 5 minutes to go. Can we create something here? Low on the left-hand side. Plays it forward, looking for Justinison. It was hopeful more than anything. Never really got anywhere near. I know he's a big boy, but he's not that big. And we're letting Newport in again here. And this is going to be a big blow if they score here. And I think, has Perini pushed that wide of the post? No, the guy just missed. I'll give Perini the credit anyway. Look at that XG. We are definitely dropping points here today, and 3 draws in a row is not forcing yourself into the playoff mix form. So I do worry if we don't find a late winner here. It's McHugh. McHugh. We've got 4 minutes of extra time to play here, and it's Justinison. He had to duck to head it. Just bring it down in your chest and wallop it rather than ducking and then sort of cushioning it into the hands of the goalkeeper. That's why that guy doesn't start for us anymore. He's forgotten how to head again. He'd learnt how to head towards the end of last season. Apparently he can only do League 2 headers though. Another frustrating dropped points. I think we're finishing mid-table this year. We're going to go all the way through to the end of the season for the next episode. Hopefully still in with a chance of getting into the playoffs, but with 10 games to go, 5 points to catch up, and we've not won in 3. It's a tall order, boys and girls. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.